everyone. We're going to get started. Good evening and welcome to the 2023 Sumner and Hermine Marshall Endowed Last Lecture. We are pleased and honored to have here tonight the sons of Dr. and Dr. Marshall. Gregory, Randolph, and Brad established this endowment for our lecture series to reflect their parents' lifelong commitment to education, social equity, and nurturing human potential. We are incredibly grateful for your generosity in supporting our tradition in our lecture series to hear directly from our faculty about their inspiring and resilient professional and personal stories. As this is our inaugural endowed lecture, we invite Greg to say a few words.
My parents, Sumner and Hermine Marshall, dedicated their lives to education and teaching. Hermine was a lifelong educator who got her PhD in educational psychology at UC Berkeley in 1967. She had to overcome the prejudices of the era as she was actively discouraged from entering the doctoral program because she was a woman with 3 young children. Her research centered on the young child's development of self-concept and motivation for learning. For most of her long career, she headed the Early Childhood Master's Degree Program at San Francisco State University and served as associate editor of the Journal of Educational Psychology. Hermine was sought out for her wisdom in the field and was a role model for generations of students. Sumner finished his urology residency at UCSF in 1964. Very early in his career, he started teaching urology to the third-year UCSF medical students, and he did so for the next 50 years. He absolutely loved his time with the med students. Before meeting a group for their first weekly series of classes, he would ask the administrators for photos of the students and would memorize their names and faces so that he could engage with each of them personally from the first day. He introduced students to common urologic problems with a combination of humor and empathy. He didn't want them distracted by trying to memorize facts for the clerkship final exam. So for those important points, with a twinkle in his eye, he would say, "I'm not allowed to tell you what's on the test, but you might see me stamp my foot." Sumner was recognized for his enthusiasm and passion for teaching with multiple faculty teaching awards. When my brothers Randy, Brad, and I were thinking about a way to honor the memory of our parents, we were thrilled to find the opportunity to endow the UCSF Last Lecture. This meaningful event has been going on at UCSF since 2012, and with its purpose of having esteemed faculty share the wisdom they have accumulated through their life experiences, it really meshes with Sumner and Hermine's lifelong commitment to education, social equity, and the nurturing of human potential. As part of its support for the lectureship continuing into the future, this endowment also establishes an honorarium and funds a reception to celebrate the selection of the recipient of the annual lectureship. Welcome, Dr. Kennedy, to the inaugural Sumner and Hermine Marshall Endowed Last Lecture.
Thank you, Greg, for sharing about your parents and their legacy. So, the last lecture series was made famous by Dr. Randy Pausch, a Carnegie Mellon professor whose lecture actually became his last lecture, having been recently diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. In spring 2012, the UCSF last lecture received a warm and welcoming response. This year, this student-initiated event will continue to build on that tradition. We began the process of tonight's last lecture months ago when we asked our student leaders to put together a list of nominees, and from this list, hundreds of students from all of our UCSF programs voted. And the winner of that vote is our speaker tonight, Dr. Kai Kennedy. Dr. Kennedy received her bachelor's in kinesiological sciences from the University of Maryland and doctorate of physical therapy from Virginia Commonwealth University. She completed her fellowship training at the George Washington University and is currently pursuing a PhD in health professions education at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. Presently, Dr. Kennedy is an associate professor and vice chair of equity in the Department of Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation Science. Her teaching spans the areas of professional identity, leadership, interprofessional collaboration, and population health. Dr. Kennedy has extensive experience in addressing issues of health equity and works with partners to scale up rehabilitative care and educational equity in the United States, the Caribbean, West Africa, and Europe. She has a keen interest in applying an equity lens to leadership, curriculum development, and clinical practice. This interest is one her students enjoy the most in her CARE class series and the conversations she creates around health equity and providing person-centered care for all people from all backgrounds. She is the first physical therapist to be named Atlantic Fellow for Health Equity and serves as a consultant on issues of health and educational equity around the country and around the world. And so, on behalf of the UCSF student body, I asked Dr. Kennedy, if you had but one lecture to give, what would you say?
My name is Kai Kennedy, and I'm honored to have been chosen to deliver the 2023 last lecture at UCSF, the University of California, San Francisco. I want to start by thanking TRAM for the nomination and all of the students who voted for me. A few months ago, I was teaching a lesson on the use of public narrative as a health advocacy skill. I wanted my students to understand that their stories hold power, and that storytelling is a skill that can be developed right alongside their clinical skills to help move us toward a healthier world. So kudos to you, TRAM, and all of you for flipping the script and giving me the platform to share my own story. I hope that you see yourself in it. So, if I had but one lecture to give, one story to tell, its moral would be that your teachers are all around you.
The child in each of us knows paradise. Paradise is home, home as it was, or home as it should have been. Paradise is one's own place, one's own people, one's own world, knowing and known, perhaps even loving and loved. Yet every child is cast from paradise into growth and new community, into vast unknowing change.
Paradise for me, my home, is at the riverside. I grew up in a place where the river was a central signpost. I'm at the river was a valid answer to, what time will you get here? A favorite pastime was bounding over river rocks from the bank to Belle Isle as fresh water rushed in rapids and lulled in pools, all the way from the Blue Ridge Mountains through the Piedmont to the brackish bay waters and eventually out to salted sea. It is the same river where my mother grew up, and her mother before her. and her mother before her. We are descended from the indigenous Mattaponi people in the Pamunkey Nation in Central Virginia. And we are descended from Africans, both enslaved and free, in the American South. My people have been in this place for a long time. I can trace at least 8 generations back, by name, on both my mother's side and my father's side. And these 2 women were my links to those lineages and the earliest purveyors of my values. They were God-fearing women, keepers of their village, self-determined people who blazed trails through thorny thickets, trod stony roads over red clay to faraway places, creating new realities for themselves, their families, and their communities. Ernie Beard Smith, born in 1932. She was an American nurse and a scholar with expertise in neurologic rehabilitation and caregiver support. Her work informed my practice in stroke rehabilitation. Vola Mae Kennedy, born in 1922. She was an American educator, a teacher, and a scholar with expertise in English language and American history. Her work informed my strategies in developing inclusive pedagogy. These women, wives, mothers, sisters, and aunties, each pursued advanced academic studies well into their adulthood, each earning bachelor's and master's degrees, a rare achievement for Black women in America at that time. The examples set by these women informed my journey before I was ever born. They are my grandmothers. They are my people. They shaped my world. They knew me before I knew me. As early as 1st grade, I was labeled gifted and talented. My parents had bought a house in the suburbs so that I could attend one of the highest ranked public school systems in the country at that time. High scores on early aptitude tests suggested to my teachers that I had something unique to offer and opened doors for me that were not open to others. By 2nd grade, I was placed in accelerated courses, separate from my friends and neighbors, one of 2 Black children in class, and charged with learning more comprehensive material at a faster pace. I had been cast from my paradise into growth and new community. I was 7 years old, and the pressures of the world were already keeping me up at night. Literally. For several weeks at the beginning of my 2nd grade year, I had recurring nightmares that lifted me from my bed each night and sent me to my parents' room, searching for cozied comfort where the pillows met between my sleeping parents, where the world was much smaller, where there were no conditions on my value. I was learning at 7 to cope with expectations for navigating uncharted paths, and I was coping with the anxieties that those expectations produced. With strong support from my parents, our village, the teachers at Beulah Elementary, and Principal James Taylor, we persisted, and I prevailed, settling in for a long journey of scholarship, service, and self-discovery. I wasn't sure where I was headed, but I knew I was expected to outperform many of my peers and use my opportunities to serve those who didn't have the same privileges. And so it was. I progressed through my formative years with perfect attendance, honor roll, and a laundry list of extracurricular activities, increasing my leadership responsibilities. My first love was track and field. I was enamored by Florence Griffith Joyner, FloJo, and Jackie Joyner Kersey, American Olympians with brown skin and big hair and gold medals. As soon as I could, I joined my school track team, where I ran all the sprints, did all the jumps, ran the hurdles, and anchored the relays. And then I fell in love with basketball, where I ran point and occasionally stepped in as two guard. And my team nickname was O Captain. Shout out to anyone who gets the Dead Poet Society reference. And I played the trumpet in the symphony, in the jazz band, and in the marching band, where I eventually became drum major. Sadly, not the high-stepping kind. Our band marched corps style, but we also snuck Snoop and Biggie beats into our cadences and halftime shows. These are not feats to me. My parents had done the same. My father, an American football player in college, an offensive guard, and also on the swimming and diving team. My mother, a runner, a lifeguard, and a violinist. Even my grandma had played basketball, back in the day when girls didn't run full court. And she still roller skated with our youth group at church. But these feats were my norm. As the end of high school came near, the pressure of determining what I would do with my life loomed heavy. A smart kid like you'll probably be a doctor or a lawyer. I knew I had opportunities that not everyone did, but what did I want to do? I first came to know physical rehabilitation when our star basketball player, our center, tore her ACL. It's a common story for folks entering my field. Someone close to them becomes ill or injured or experiences physical trauma and starts a long road to recovery. Physical therapists accompany them along their way. My teammate had to have surgery and endure months of rehabilitation before returning to work out with our team. I don't remember why, but I found myself attending medical appointments with her, observing treatment protocols, and asking all of the questions. I must have been so annoying. But my teammate's surgeon, sports med docs, and our school's athletic trainer leaned into my curiosity. They gave me old textbooks, and they chatted with me about my teammate's progress. And I began to see how becoming a physical therapist would allow for my academic talents and my interest in human performance to merge. Initially, I wanted to work with professional athletes, but I quickly realized that many people entering the field of physical therapy had the same dream. And there was no shortage of providers for those with wealth or significant privilege. The lack of interest seemed to be for those who suffer with ill health the most: Black, brown, and indigenous people, persons with disabilities, rural and poor folks. I wondered, if no one else is gonna serve my people, I guess that's my job? It was my final year of physical therapy school. My father called me one Saturday night. It was a holiday weekend. Thanksgiving was a couple days earlier. My dad, my brother, my aunties and cousins, and my grandma Vola were all down in Georgia, but I was on a clinical rotation up near Washington, D.C., and I didn't have school breaks for holidays anymore. I had to work. Dad and we chatted about the holiday spread. The aunties had prepared all the classic favorites. The macaroni and cheese, baked because duh. The collards, the yams, the turkey, dressing, and gravy. A pecan or sweet potato pie, all from scratch, of course. And the Caribbean aunties, the sorrel, rice and peas, macaroni pie, a massive whole red snapper, black cake with rum so strong it sent my grandma Vola to go lay across her bed. Goodness, I'm making myself hungry. We talked about who all was over there, which is a thing my folk do sometimes. We also talked about school, how it was going for me and my clinical rotation too, but boy, I wished I could be down there with my family. Then Daddy told me he hadn't slept well the night before, that he had woken up in a sweat, that he felt his breathing was unsteady. He didn't feel pain, but he didn't feel right. He said, "I know you're in medical school, so..." "Daddy, I'm not in medical school, you know this. I'm in physical therapy school." "I know that you're in the medical field, right?" "Yes, Daddy." "And you're in school, right?" "Yes, Daddy." "So what do you think I should do?" "You need to go to the doctor, Daddy, like now." "Okay, well, it's a holiday weekend, but I'll go first thing on Monday." My daddy died of a heart attack on Tuesday morning, at the age of 53. It was 6 months before I graduated. But here's the thing, he followed my advice, and he stuck to his word. He went to that doctor on Monday morning, and he and I talked that Monday night after the doctor he saw sent him home and told him to come back in the morning. My daddy died that next morning, at the breakfast table, coffee cup in his hand. And there I was, cast from paradise, once more. Years later, after college, after physical therapy school, and after my early career years, I returned to my high school to be inducted into my high school sports hall of fame. Old coaches were there, old teammates, my family. I knew my daddy would have been so proud. By the Hall of Fame, yes, but even more so that I was running an outpatient orthopedic clinic less than a mile away. My patients were my neighbors, my friends' parents, my parents' friends. My patients were current athletes at my old high school. My clinic was a part of my community, and we were doing everything we could to help our people live their best lives. We did blood pressure drives, We did family wellness programs. We spoke at senior centers and high schools and church groups. We raised money for nonprofits and hosted health fairs. I mentored aspiring physical therapists and it was a beautiful time in my life and in my career. I was back in my paradise caring for my people. But after years of full-time clinical practice, countless free clinics and health fairs, I felt my impact was increasingly insignificant. Despite success with individual patients, it was clear that my neighbors were not much healthier overall. Many of my patients were successfully regaining function after traumatic medical events, but I couldn't seem to make a dent in the number of people diagnosed with hypertension, heart disease, COPD, Parkinson's, dementia. Younger adults were becoming diabetic. And from the window of my PT clinic, I watched the cascade of neighbors rolling in and out of the dialysis clinic that had moved in next door. A recurring nightmare, all day, every day. I tried to understand why so much of the work to serve underserved communities was not changing the fact that they were underserved. It was not changing their collective health status, their health outcomes. I felt I had trained for a reactionary healthcare system that was not designed to interrupt the mechanisms of ill health. Furthermore, in many instances, the healthcare systems themselves were contributing to poor health outcomes. And just like in the second grade, the pressures of this world were starting to keep me up at night. So I began to look for roles that would allow me to focus on the paradox of working in a health service system that didn't serve so many of my people.
I'm learning to fly, to levitate myself. No one is teaching me. I'm just learning on my own, little by little, dream lesson by dream lesson. I've had many lessons and I'm better at flying than I used to be. I trust my ability more now, but I'm still afraid. I can't quite control my directions yet. I lean toward the doorway, holding my body stiff and tense. I let go of whatever I'm grasping, whatever has kept me from rising or falling so far. And I lean into the air, straining upward, not moving upward, but not quite falling down either. Then I do begin to move, as though to slide on the air, drifting a few feet above the floor, caught between terror and joy.
It was 2011 when I first stepped foot on African soil. As a descendant of enslaved people in the Americas, this was a life-altering moment for me, particularly because of the way I was received, as family. Let me be clear, this was not the first time I had been in a Black space. It was not the first time I had visited a Black country, but it was the first time that I was welcomed home. Akwaba read the airport wall as I walked across the tarmac. My first couple of trips to Ghana had absolutely nothing to do with my career. There were no short-term clinics, no service learning, no Western organizations at the helm, no forms to complete other than my visa form and my yellow fever vaccination. I didn't visit any hospitals or universities. I didn't teach anybody anything. It didn't go on my CV. I didn't win any award. Instead, we built community. We became family. I sat on long bus trips to Abury, Cape Coast, watching stand-up comedy on a cell phone with my new best friend, Salome. I ate banku and okra soup. I attended music festivals and art galleries. I sat in recording sessions and morning radio shows. I visited W.E.B. Du Bois' house and Kwame Nkrumah's memorial. I bought beads and bangles at Art Center. I chopped it up with friends on the back steps of a nightclub, Reggie Rockstones, and I shared a bed with my mom. And I left, knowing I would be back. My boss at the time expected something different. He thought my visit to Africa was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. He was wrong. 6 months later, I was back in Accra, and I was co-producing what has become one of the biggest alternative art and music festivals in West Africa. and my friends were running the show. With their leadership in the alternative art space, I began to think differently about how I could use my skills to impact my community, about how I could expand my communities, how I could connect them. Recognizing that current healthcare models were not meeting the needs of whole subcommunities in each society where I worked, I began to consider alternative career pathways that allowed me to explore new ideas, to develop innovations, and to help build a healthcare workforce toward an increased capacity to address the disparities so significantly impacting our communities, those we serve and those to which we belong. Higher education seemed to offer the academic freedom, self-directed development, and collegial engagement that I felt could support this vision. The next year, I was offered my first academic appointment as the Director of Clinical Education for the developing Doctor of Physical Therapy program at a well-established small university. I was charged with developing a network of clinical partners to support the clinical training for students in the rural communities in the Shenandoah Valley. The offer came from the program's only other employee at the time, the program director, Dr. Lisa Shope, PT, DPT, PhD, performing arts physical therapist, veteran physical therapist educator, and personal mentor. Under her mentorship, I refined my approach to community engagement and applied it to building a healthcare community throughout the Valley and beyond. As the founding director of clinical education, I met with local clinicians and learned about their challenges in meeting health need, their patients' perceived barriers to care, and the difficulties recruiting clinicians to rural areas. Alongside our growing team, we developed the College of Health Sciences from concept through charter class graduation. And with shared understanding, we built curricula in physical therapy, occupational therapy, nursing, and physician assistant studies, each using an interprofessional approach to meeting community-identified need. During those first years, I developed physical therapy and interprofessional curricula, recruitment and admission strategy, institutional culture and tradition, clinical and community partnerships, and an application for candidacy for accreditation. In building the infrastructure and curricula for Mary Baldwin's College of Health Sciences, I learned that community stakeholders provide powerful and necessary guidance for preparing clinicians to address that community's health need. It was in this lab, health professions education, where my work really began to take shape. In addition to providing clinical care in the Valley, I also had the opportunity to explore new strategies to build and sustain local community partnerships and international partnerships. Shortly after starting the position at Mary Baldwin, my mother and I went to Haiti for the first time. It was 3 years on from the earthquake, but the rubble remained. Many lives had been lost, and many had been saved, but there was little to no rehabilitation available for the buildings or for the bodies. This time, we did offer our professional skills, mine as a physical therapist and hers as a massage therapist. We were visiting, that first time, with an American organization, run by an American, from Kansas, and we were oriented to the clinic by a Swede. We didn't speak Creole. Our visit was a short 2 weeks, but my lessons from Ghana lit our way forward, and the Theodore family was our conduit. They were a family of highly educated, trilingual, world-traveled, business-savvy professionals. They owned businesses, ran a school, and hosted visitors from around the world. At first, we were those visitors, but within a year, they were also visiting and staying with us in our home. By the time I began to take students with me to Haiti, the eldest Theodore's son, Pascal, a middle school teacher and a university student, became my closest collaborator and my newest new best friend. With his expertise in the Haitian education system and mine in health professions education, we aim to build partnerships that help to fill the gaps in access to rehabilitative care. First, by providing clinical services through short-term clinics in rural communities, and ultimately, by partnering with Haitian universities where physicians, nurses, and therapists were being trained. Our most powerful partnership remains today with the Wesleyan University's nursing program on the island of La Gonave. the small hospital in Ansagalé provides care to 10,000 residents of the city and anyone else from the countryside who can make it into town. The dean of the nursing school at Wesleyan wanted a partner who could help integrate rehabilitative care into the nursing curriculum so that Haitian nurses could extend the reach of the healthcare workforce in one of the most remote parts of the country. Every year until COVID, we held an interprofessional rehabilitation module wherein my American physical therapy and occupational therapy students and Haitian nursing students taught each other and co-treated the members of the Lagonave community. The students worked together to conceptualize and implement blood pressure clinics to screen members of the community for hypertension. The graduates of those programs remain in contact, and they continue to consult one another on patient cases and clinical dilemmas. Their communities are connected and expanded. It was clear that interprofessional, multicultural approaches to healthcare could benefit not just patients, but also the clinicians that treat them. Years later, I was invited back to Ghana, this time in a professional capacity. Ghana's Physiotherapy Congress wanted me to share my approach to community partnership and invited my student Joanna to present her doctoral project on postpartum rehabilitation. And of course, my mom came along. Our journey to Ghana was a catalyst for a major shift in my career. In my next appointment, I served a physical therapy program as the Director of Community and Global Outreach, a position I like to refer to as a unicorn of a position in PT. At that time, I was not aware of any physical therapy program with a dedicated faculty position for community and global outreach. During these years, I was integrated into a fascinating choreography between representatives of powerful global health entities, eager academic partners, and communities of human beings around the world. It was an up-close view of how health professions education was not preparing learners to address the socio-political factors driving health disparity. At that time, we were just starting to talk about the social determinants of health. But to use Paula Braveman's language, we weren't addressing the causes of the causes. For several years, as I continued to deepen my connections in Ghana and in Haiti, I found my community expanding in Appalachian switchbacks and southern plantations, in post-colonial cities and post-colonizing countries, amongst colleagues and partners from every discipline, from business to energy to coding to care. And even with all of these teachers, all of this community, all of this knowledge and opportunity, I still had recurring nightmares of Black fathers dying too soon.
All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you.
Welcome to the Bay! On the other end of the phone, my friend Sarah welcomed me to California. She was one of 2 friends I knew before I moved here 5 years ago. I was excited to hear from her now that we had arrived at our new place after so much planning and so much driving. We had gotten in about 3 days prior, but today my back quarter panel window lay in pieces on the ground. And as I explained to my friend, I was shook. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was there to be stolen, but I felt violated nonetheless. The police did nothing. My insurance company set me up at a glass shop in the city, even though I lived in the town. And then the repair shop called me the morning of my appointment to reschedule because their glass truck had been robbed that morning. What a nightmare. Welcome to the Bay, huh? What have I gotten myself into? Just like every community I've ever been in, I searched immediately for someone to connect with. Someone who knows this place. Someone who lives in this place, but not just lives in it, lives it. I looked for my people. It's been interesting to find community outside of work, especially in the last few years when so many of us were isolated by the COVID-19 pandemic. But I've been blessed to find a few trusted folks who see me, who value my contributions, and who I trust to tell me what's really up here in the Bay. So tonight, I want to yield some of my time to the people who have taught me about the Bay. Maybe there's something you can learn from them too.
I am a joy bringer. I am radiant. I am God's smile to the world. I am Reverend Dr. T.O. Malone. I am a practicing physical therapist. I am an ordained Baptist minister.
I'm Nate. I'm a first generation U.S. citizen. I'm an Oakland native, born and raised. I'm a chef. I'm an artist. I'm a public health professional. I'm a healthcare worker. I'm a Black man. And I'm a nerd. I'm Trini, and I'm Norwegian. I am a community health educator.
My name is Kirk Davis. I'm a pastor here, a leader here, a husband here, father here, Golden State Warrior fan here, lover of Bayview. That's pretty much who I am.
My people would be people from Oakland, people from just the Bay Area in general, but specifically Black people. People understand what the head nod means. People who really know how to toe that line between operating in two worlds where you have to change how you talk in one, and you have to be professional, and then you go back to how you talk at home. People who are West Indian, Afro-Caribbean, and people who shared experiences with me, whether it's shared trauma or just share funny stories. They didn't have to happen with me, but that we can talk about and reminisce about how it made us feel.
My people are my family. My people are native San Franciscans. My people are all the women basketball athletes. My people are everyone from San Francisco that understands when we say heck up. My people are the Black church. My people are all the twins in the world.
Kai Kennedy is one of the people that I've definitely connected with. She worked a little bit with an organization called Rise Prep here at Bayview Hunters Point, and she was doing an excellent mentorship, brought other UCSF students around, children from the Bayview Hunters Point, and we just connected well through just how I feel like she treated the young people in this program or in the school. I just think it was probably the best thing for young people. So we are connected in that space, almost like a third space.
We are connected through some mutual friends and just both being Black healthcare professionals in the Bay Area.
Kai and I are connected with the physical therapy community. We are both colleagues and we are educators and we are clinicians.
What I think that UCSF and UCSF community members can learn from me is how to advocate for yourself in multiple settings, especially in healthcare settings. Like, nobody can understand your needs and explain your needs better than you. The people around you, especially the people you're related to, are your greatest asset to understanding your history and your healthcare history. Your biggest asset is those around you, not necessarily just your doctor.
I think what UCSF and the higher education community can learn from me is how to operate under a womanist ethic of care. Womanist meaning looking from the lens of the Black woman, or at least starting there, whether it's providing care to someone directly, whether it's in higher education, is starting with the starting point of the Black woman, which is what womanist is, but it doesn't stay there. So it branches out into everyone, the goal being collective well-being. So we care about everyone, but having that womanist ethic of care means we want everybody to be free. We want everyone to be liberated. We don't want anyone to be oppressed. And so having that as a starting point and knowing that we can positively affect lives, engage the community from where they are. I don't want us to forget about the Black community here in San Francisco. I know we're dwindling in numbers, but we are still present. We are in churches and we are at places where Black-owned businesses can be found.
I think it's a mutual space of learning from one another. I think UCSF needs to continue to be in communities like this because they're needed, but not just from a helicopter kind of relationship, but to really be here and involved, to see what's going on, to understand the depth of trauma that is here in this neighborhood, the depth of pain, the history of this space. And I think once those things happen, there's this beautiful shared space that can wind up happening. So for me, what they can learn from me is just basically learning how to get connected with their community and learning how to be a safe space or a safe place to land with people. I just know that we have an opportunity to do something great, and we are probably greater together if we do it right.
Your teachers are all around you. All that you perceive, all that you experience, all that is given to you or taken from you, all that you love or hate, need or fear, will teach you if you will learn.
Thank you all and each one for everything you've taught me and for the honor of your attention during my last lecture. I hope you've learned more about who I am, about what I do, and about how we are connected. And I'd love to leave you thinking about who you are, about what you do and on whose behalf you do it, about how you are connected to those around you, about how you are connected to those who came before you, and about what happens next. My teachers were all around me. My teachers are all around me. And your teachers are all around you too. Look for them, learn from them, and thank them.
That lecture is not my preferred teaching tool. I'd much rather have a conversation. But when I'm asked to speak at rather than speak with, I at least hope that I can leave the people that are listening with something to take with them, an idea to ponder over, a question to consider, a spark of energy maybe, or a renewed connection to themselves or to others. So I want to close tonight by taking my own advice and thanking some people that have been instrumental in this night. So first, thank you to the Marshall family for supporting this tradition. And thank you to the Graduate and Professional Student Association, to Kyle, Isaac, Jennifer, Kathy, and the entire last lecture production team. You made this so seamless. This is the first time I've ever spoken publicly about my father's death, and I really appreciate your support through the process. I spent most of my time tonight talking about community outside of work, but I want to take some time to thank my UCSF community. So my colleagues and students in the Department of Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation Science. My colleagues in the Program for Interprofessional Practice and Education, my colleagues and fellow learners in the Health Professions Education Program and in the Center for Faculty Educators, my colleagues and fellow fellows at GBHI and in the Memory and Aging Center, and my forever family in the Atlantic Fellows for Health Equity and the Greater Atlantic Fellows Network. I want to publicly thank a lifetime of teachers, coaches, and mentors who I do not have the time to list and name, as well as partners and colleagues, patients and students, teammates. This is my tribe. I want to thank my family, the Kennedys and the Smiths and the Browns who've adopted me. I want to thank Salome and Ese Atikpo and Pascal Theodore and the entire Theodore family. I want to thank my friends. I want to thank my church family. I want to thank the littest group chat that ever existed. I want to thank the PT aunties. I want to shout out Richmond, Virginia, the whole DMV and VA, 2 up, 2 down. I want to thank my kin folks. I've talked a lot about my people tonight, but I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my person. I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for sharing your California dream, and thank you for holding me down during the nightmares. I want to thank you to my very first teacher and storyteller, my mama, who's back there. You heard her voice. There you go. Shout out, Mom. Hey. You heard her voice reading Octavia Butler's words throughout this piece. So thank you, Mom, for being here with us tonight and for being there for me always. And finally, thank all of you for being here with me tonight, for sharing this space and this moment. I hope it lives on with you as I know that it will with me. So with my whole heart, thank all of you. I hope you have a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy, for all your kind and inspirational words. I'd like to give you some flowers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Dr. Kennedy. We also have a reception after, and we would like everyone to join us in celebrating Dr. Kennedy and the Marshall family. Thank you.